You bought that crossover for its all-weather grip and heated everything. But parking it in the snow after a long haul
is like dropping a hot cast iron pan into ice water. That sharp hiss? That's thermal shock.
I've torn down over 500 of these late-model SUVs, and that single event triggers engineering failures the factory never planned for.
We're counting down the 12 ways your SUV's best features are secretly creating thermal shocks that tear it apart,
leading to the #1 nightmare that silently kills your vehicle's value.
Stay with me, because after the countdown, I'm giving you the 3 specific checks that will stop it cold.
Number 12. The remote start screen splinter. Ever notice your touch screen seems a little slow on a frigid morning?
You hit the remote start, the cabin heats up, but the screen stays dark for a few seconds.
Here's the thing. That blast of heat from the vents creates an intense thermal gradient across the glass and the sensitive layers behind it.
Different materials expand at different rates, stressing the adhesive bonds. According to service data from our network of glass installers,
post-winter delamination repairs spike by nearly 30%. It starts as a bubble, then a flicker.
A new screen is an easy $900. Ignored, it can short the infotainment module for a $2,000 bill.
And if that short cascades, you're looking at a $4,000 dash rewiring job.
Before you turn the key tomorrow, set your remote start climate to a gentle 70 degrees, not max defrost.
Does your screen ever lag on cold days? Let me know in the comments. Number 11. The heated seat stitch split. Feel that satisfying warmth from your heated leather seats on a cold day?
It feels great, but it's a torture test for the material. Here's the thing, the heating element rapidly warms the leather,
causing it to expand. When you get out, it cools and contracts. This constant thermal cycling dries out the material's natural oils and fatigues the stitching. Automakers specify materials tested for thousands of cycles, like in Ford's Bulletin WSS M99P32E.
But extreme temperature swings accelerate that wear. The first sign is a tiny crack near a seam, a $100 fix.
Let it go, and you get a full tier, forcing a $700 upholstery job. The catastrophic cost? When you trade it in, that trashed interior costs you $2,000 in value. If this feels harmless, just know.
Every time you hit high, you're taking months off your interior's life.
Number 10. The off-road seam sealer crack. You took your rig through that muddy trail, flexing the suspension just like it was designed to.
You feel invincible. But did you hear that faint creak as you went through the water crossing? Here's the thing.
As your crossover's unibody twists, the seam sealer in the floor pan flexes with it. Then, you plunge that warm metal into a cold stream.
The rapid contraction causes micro cracks in that now brittle sealer. Lab tests from aftermarket suppliers show a 50% drop in sealant elasticity.
After just 200 of these extreme thermal cycles. At first, it's just a damp carpet and a musty smell.
Soon it's a $500 bill to find and fix the leak. Let it fester, and you're looking at rusted floor pans.
And a multi-$1,000 structural repair that could total the vehicle. 3 weeks later, that musty smell is the sound of your vehicle's foundation.
Rotting from the inside out. Do you know where your unibody drain plugs are? Find them.
Number 9. The winter parking bushing crush. You park after driving home, the engine block and subframe radiating heat.
Outside, it's freezing. Ever feel a new clunk from the suspension after a particularly cold winter?
Here's the thing. The trapped heat keeps the rubber bushings soft, while the cold air makes the metal control arms contract.
This puts a constant, uneven pressure on the bushings, leading to compression set. It's like leaving a heavy book on a foam cushion for months. NHTSA complaint logs are filled with owners reporting premature suspension noise in northern states.
A set of control arm bushings is a $400 job. Wait too long, and the resulting alignment issues will chew through. $1,000 in tires. The ultimate cost? The bushing fails completely, causing a loss of control.
I trust it when you can smell it, and the smell of ozone from stressed rubber is a clear warning.
Has this happened to your car? Comment below where it hit you. Number 8. The all-wheel drive fluid shear. You love the confident grip of your all-wheel drive system pulling you through a slick corner.
But what's happening inside that transfer case? Here's the thing, the clutch packs that distribute power are generating intense, localized heat.
This heat, combined with immense pressure, literally shears the long-chain molecules in the transfer case fluid, reducing its viscosity.
It's like turning fine motor oil into water. Many OEM service bulletins, like GM's 16NA372, address shudder from fluid breakdown long before the scheduled change.
Early signs are a shudder on tight turns. A fluid change with the right stuff like Ravenol TF0870 is $200.
Ignore it, and you're looking at a $3,000 transfer case rebuild. If it grenades, it can take the transmission with it.
A $7,000 catastrophe. Meanwhile, in Arizona, where pavement can hit 150 degrees, this failure happens even faster.
This is the line where things get expensive. Pay attention.
Number 7. The towing transmission toxin. You're pulling that trailer, and the temperature gauge is steady. You think everything is fine.
But inside your transmission, a chemical war is raging. Here's the thing, towing sustains transmission fluid temperatures that accelerate oxidation.
The fluid literally cooks, breaking down its friction modifiers and creating sludge. It stops protecting parts and starts creating varnish.
SAE paper 2021-01-0535 confirms that for every 20-degree rise in temperature, the useful life of transmission fluid is cut in half.
The first hint is a slightly delayed or harsh shift. A flush with a full synthetic like AmSoil Signature Series ATF. NHTSA
Might save you for $500. Wait for the slip, and you've approved a $4,000 rebuild.
The real cost, being stranded on the highway with a trailer, a tow bill, and a ruined vacation.
Tap like so you remember this on your next trip.
Number 6. The adaptive damper seal gap. Your adaptive suspension reads the road, giving you that perfect blend of comfort and control.
But when you park that hot system in a cold, slushy puddle, you're creating the perfect storm for failure.
Here's the thing. The hot metal valve body contracts rapidly. The elastomer seals inside contract at a different, slower rate,
Creating microscopic gaps. Condensation forms on the cold surfaces and gets pulled right past the seal.
Our shop's warranty claim data shows a 40% higher failure rate for adaptive damper solenoids in salt belt states.
It starts with a suspension fault light. One corner can cost $800.
Let it go, and a full system failure is over $3,000. The worst case? A seized solenoid causes a sudden, dangerous change.
In handling at highway speed, if you think that repair bill is bad, wait until you hear what's next.
Number 5. The bushing bond brake. You've just powered through a tough trail, and now you're fording a cold stream.
Feels epic, right? For your control arm bushings, it's a death sentence.
Here's the thing. Mechanical stress from off-roading plus severe thermal shock from the water weakens the bond between the rubber, bushing and its metal sleeve. The rubber becomes brittle, the bond delaminates, and the suspension geometry is compromised.
Aftermarket suppliers like Moog redesign bushings with superior compounds specifically to combat this, based on their field failure studies.
You'll feel a wander in the steering or hear a clunk. Replacing a pair of control arms is a $600 job?
Ignore it, and the resulting instability could cause a catastrophic loss of control.
That's a cost you can't measure in dollars. Check your bushings before you hit the trail next weekend. Don't guess. Number 4. The torque converter cook-off. You're towing a heavy load up a long grade. Your engine is working hard.
But the real hero is the torque converter, and it is getting cooked. Here's the thing, under heavy load,
The fluid inside the torque converter is subject to extreme shear and heat, which glazes the lockup clutch and burns off.
it's friction material. It's like trying to stop a train with brake pads made of soap. Ford issued TSB 17-036.
For this exact issue in their trucks, a problem made worse by sustained heat. The first sign is a shudder at
Highway speeds. A new torque converter is a $2,000 repair. If it fails completely, it sends shrapnel through the entire system.
guaranteeing a $5,000 replacement transmission. I've seen a torque converter that was so overheated, the metal was blued like a gun.
Barrel, that owner thought tow haul mode was optional. This is your final warning before we get to the true vehicle killers.
Number 3, the fast charge connector. Fatigue. You're on a road trip in your EV or PHEV, hitting back-to-back DC fast chargers to save time.
You're watching the battery percentage climb, but you can't see the stress on the charge port.
Here's the thing. That massive flow of current generates significant heat right at the connectors.
This intense, repeated thermal cycling causes the metal contacts to expand and contract, which over thousands of cycles fatigues the pins.
And weakens their connection. Data from independent battery labs highlights thermal management at the charge port as a critical failure point.
A loose connection creates resistance, which creates more heat in a dangerous feedback loop.
The fix is a new charge port assembly, an $1,800 job.
The catastrophic result is a charging failure that leaves you stranded with a tow bill, a $2,500 event.
3 weeks later, that charging fault message isn't a glitch. It's a mechanical failure in the making. Number 2. The winter parking frame rot. Parking in an unplowed spot seems harmless. It's just snow.
But you're setting a trap for your vehicle's structure. Here's the thing, the heat from your engine, exhaust, and drivetrain
Melts the snow around the subframe and unibody. This creates a constant bath of salty, corrosive slush held tight.
against the vehicle's most vulnerable steel welds and seams. This is far worse than driving through slush. It's letting it soak for hours.
NHTSA has opened numerous investigations like PE 14I0222 into premature subframe corrosion on vehicles in Salt Belt states.
You won't see it until an alignment is impossible or you hear a loud pop. That's a cracked subframe.
A used one costs $1,500. A new one, installed, can exceed $4,000, often totaling the vehicle.
I've put a screwdriver straight through the frame rail of a 7-year-old crossover that looked spotless from the outside.
Don't let this be you. Number 1. The fast charge battery killer. This is the one that happens completely silently.
Back-to-back DC fast charging sessions get you back on the road fast, but they are murdering your battery's capacity.
Here's the thing. Each fast charge generates immense internal heat within the cells, while your thermal management system works to cool it.
This repeated thermal cycling accelerates the degradation of the battery's delicate chemical structure. It permanently increases internal resistance.
Think of it as slowly clogging the arteries of your battery. Automakers know this. Their battery warranties are calculated with this expected degradation factored in.
But aggressive fast charging pushes you to the edge of that warranty or past it. There is no cheap fix. There is no repair.
A degraded battery means less range and lower resale value, a loss of thousands.
A full battery replacement can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000.
I saw one owner whose brand new EV lost 15% of its range in a single year of nothing but fast charging.
Don't get caught by this. Stay right here because we're flipping this around to show you how to fight back.
Now, let's stop the damage before it starts. Here are the 3 habits that counter these thermal shocks.
First, use the right fluids, not just the cheap ones. For that transfer case, use only the OEM-specified fluid like GM's AutoTrack 2.
Its formulation has the exact shear stability needed. For that transmission you use for towing, switch to a full synthetic
that exceeds the factory spec and cut your change interval in half. It's the cheapest insurance you can buy.
Second, the undercarriage inspection you're skipping. After every winter, get your vehicle on a lift.
Use a pressure washer to blast salt and grime from the subframe. Control arms and inside the frame rails.
Look for cracked seam sealer or bubbling undercoat, a $10 can of rust converter and a $20 can
of rubberized undercoating can stop a $4,000 frame rot before it even starts.
Third, smart charging for your EV or PHEV. Your battery is happiest between 20 and 80%.
On road trips, use DC fast charging to get to 80%. Then drive on.
Charging that last 20% takes the longest and generates the most heat.
At home, use a level 2 charger and schedule it to finish just before you leave.
This minimizes the time the battery sits at a high state of charge, preserving its life.
These thermal stresses are engineered into your vehicle's life, but by understanding how they work, you take back control.
You decide the timeline, not the temperature.
Now that you know how thermal shock attacks your vehicle's core systems, the next critical step is understanding the silent killer.
In your cooling system. Watch our deep dive on coolant chemistry to catch the other invisible failure that costs owners thousands in engine repairs.